Hey, Rifters, welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, review. Uh, got some dates on keithreza.com. Should be fun. I'm going to try and get this one released in mid-September. Uh, but we have a great guest. I will be a Lone Ranger today, doing the things I do without Alan Lee or Victor Pacheco. So, I'm just now getting over a cold too, so I do apologize if I sound a little hoarse, but I have a great guest. I'm very excited. Um, this is one of the best, I feel, character actors ever. And then I saw this movie actually last night, and now I think she's one of the greatest actors ever. It was called Rush, and it was just fantastic. I'm sure we're going to talk about it. But for those who don't know, you've seen her on Seinfeld, Saturday Night Live, Men in Black. She has a new movie coming out called Shelter and Solitude, and it's going to be great with the great Siobhan Fallon Hogan. She's going to be joining us via Zoom, and it's going to be great. So subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, and enjoy Reza Riffs with Siobhan Fallon Hogan.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Oh,
Hi, Siobhan.
hi, can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. Thank you so much for saying yes and talking with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Andy told me he wanted to talk about your new movie, Shelter and Solitude. So
Yes.
I wanted to start what you're doing now, and then we'll work our way to the past and versus vice versa, you know? So I saw the trailer. It looks really, really good.
Thank
And
you.
and you wrote it. This is your second movie that you wrote. So
Yes.
I watched Rush last night, which I loved
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
because I knew that that was very, very important to you. Like that's a project that's really important to you. And I
Yeah.
noticed you also wrote that one too. So like
Yes.
you're in the habit of writing movies
Yes. I've gotten into this habit.
now. Yeah. So like where do these stories come from? Like do events hit you that you think, okay, I have to share these stories, or like how do you come up with these ideas?
Well, I have three kids. So Rushed, which is about a fraternity hazing incident thriller, but and it's about an Irish family who's funny.
Yeah.
So and Shelter and Solitude, my character, I play a prison guard, and Dan Castellaneta, who's Homer Simpson, obviously he's clearly funny, and Robert Patrick's really funny. So it's kind of like um, people that are funny having kind of bad things happen to them.
Right.
So when you have three kids, my kids at the time when I wrote Rushed, I had my son was in college, my daughter was entering college, my other daughter was out of college. So and there was all the news about fraternity hazing. So I just was kind of, thinking in my mind, my God, if that happened to me, what would I do? And obviously, when you see it, you see that I'm not that normal, and I'm like, I would go insane. So that's where the thriller element comes in Rushed. And then Shelter and Solitude, my new movie that's coming out October 6th, which Regal and AMC picked up. So we have a big release.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. So that is about a prisoner on death row with 10 days left to live and his relationship with a wannabe washed up country singer. So I grew up outside of upstate New York. We actually filmed up there. We filmed outside of Syracuse and in Syracuse. The jail was in Syracuse. And my dad was an attorney, and I'm one of five. So when we were at dinner, a lot of, every night we'd have to sit down and have dinner, mashed potatoes, boiled potatoes, some sort of burnt potato. And my father would always lots of times would tell stories about his clients.
Yeah.
And he would talk about some of them that were really, hard criminals. And then he would talk about the prison guards. And so I was kind of obsessed with that. And I always think about that. Like if I drive, now I live down in New Jersey, if I drive home and pass big prison in Pennsylvania, and I'm like, what are they doing in there? You know what I mean? Like, it's terrible. Like, it's like, oh, that is rough. Well, then, and my dad wanted me to be a country singer. So, and I always was in the musicals and everything growing up, but my voice wasn't really like, I went to New York originally to be a Broadway singer, star. That's what I thought in my sick mind. And then I realized after a few auditions, I'm not that smart. After about a year's worth of auditions, hey, maybe I should go the comedy route because I really can't reach the high notes. So anyway, my dad was always like, you should be a country singer. Why don't you be a country singer? Anyway, so this idea just came to me that like, what if like there's this washed up country singer and I'm not only am I like a washed up country singer, but she's like a cougar. Like she's not a cougar though, because no one will have her. She's a cougar wannabe, and she actually sang in Nashville once. So and she's an egomaniac. She's single, and there's like posters all over of herself,
like a one-hit wonder type thing.
Yes. So the thing is that like the main set of the movie is this really cool restaurant in upstate in Erieville, New York, near where I grew up. I grew up in Casanova, called the Blue Canoe, and that's the set, and we turned it into a country bar. So anyway, that's where I came. I mean, it's basically that one, Shelter in Solitude, is just kind of like melding of many ideas, which was my dad wanted me to be a country singer. I loved to sing. Yeah. My son actually is the music supervisor on the film. My son Peter, he plays Chris in the film. He plays kind of the goofy cop, and he was in the music business before all this. I mean, he's only 25, but we went out to Nashville a year ago, November, after we completed the film, and we recorded out there. So I sing 2 songs in the film. One is Justin Biltonen, who's from Three Doors Down, which is a really popular, cool country band, and another guy, Todd Cameron, who's a solo country singer. So I recorded these songs out there. So we're having a big premiere out there, September 26th, nice. Before we open on October 6th. Yeah.
Because I saw it's going to play in Santa Monica on September 19th. And if I don't have a stand-up show, I'm going to go see it.
You got to come. That'd be awesome. Yeah, let me know for sure. Yeah,
I really want to go. Because like I said, I saw the trailer. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And,
thanks.
Yeah. And like I said,
so we're gonna be at the Lemley in Santa Monica at 7:30 on September 19th. Then we'll be in Nashville at the Bell Court on September 26th, and then we open across the country October 6th.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad that it got picked up, and like that's
Thank
cool.
you. I feel like it's a miracle. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so insane. Yeah. Because you work so hard. Do you have kids? Do you have kids?
I do not, but I am technically a kid.
Oh, of course. Well, that's the whole thing. This is this is why I'm borderline insane, because my father was so funny. Like he kind of like looked like Tip O'Neill, but like when I was a kid, like I'd be in grammar school and I'd forget my lunch or forget something, and my father would like drive in the circle of school, and my father like lay on the horn or like do insane things. Kids were like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "That's my dad." Or like we'd take us just like if I missed the bus, he'd like take me to school. He's like, "All right, Siobhan, well, there's a school right there, and I'm late for work, so I'm going to slow down to about 10 miles an hour, and you can jump out. But then I need to speed up when we got to." I'm like, "Dad, seriously, you can't do that." He's like, "No, this is what I have to do. So you're gonna have to jump." So he was like insanely funny. Yeah. So but talking about kids, why am I talking about kids? Oh, because my son is the music supervisor who set us up.
That's awesome.
I wrote the movie Rush because I was so damn worried about my kids.
Yeah. And your kids were actually in Rush.
Sinead, my daughter, is in. They're both kids are in both.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah, Peter plays Jake Weary. Jake Weary from Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
I met Jake when he was 19. I was doing the TV show Fred.
Yeah.
And then the kid who plays my son in it, he was 9 years old in Fred. So my friend David Goodman, who was the head of the Writers Guild, called me up like, I don't know, 15 years ago, saying, "Hey, there's a show Fred, you want to be in it?" And so anyway, I met those 2 guys, and literally when I cast Robert Patrick, who's my good friend in both movies. Robert plays my husband, from the Terminator. Everybody knows how great Patrick
I know him from Double Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in a million movies, and now he's in like Yellowstone, like 1923. Every time I call him, he's like, "I'm working." I'm like, I want to come back as you. So anyway, I'm like, I got to write my own damn material to freaking be in, I don't know, whatever. So whatever happened to hashtag me too, that was out really fast. Like the women, I was like, maybe I'll start to really work steadily. I'm like, no, that only lasts a minute. Now it's all, whatever it is, diversity and everything. So, which is good. But, I mean, I was like, what happened to women? I'm like, I was in the movie, The House That Jack Built with Matt Dillon. That's another one. Like Matt Dillon and I have been in like one long TV show, Wayward Pines. Then we did, oh my God, I'm sold. I can't remember the name of it. I really was even that long ago with Michael Caine and Alan Arkin, who just passed, and Morgan Freeman. And I can't remember the name of the friggin' movie right now. It's gonna come to me. Anyway, so I worked with Matt in that, and I worked with Matt in The House That Jack Built, that Lars von Trier directed. So I've done like 3 movies in Denmark with Lars. Anyway, what the frig am I talking about?
We're talking about Matt Dillon.
I know. How did I get to that?
I have no idea.
You better not come on September 19th, because I probably won't be there. I'll forget. Anyway, I literally forgot what I was talking about. Oh, Robert. So Robert, who I've worked with several times. I mean, my point about Matt was that I've worked so many times with a couple of actors. It's like bizarre. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the weird thing is my sister Megan looks just like Matt. By the way, I look nothing like him. Anyway, so Robert, I call him up and he's like, yeah, he reads the script rushed. He's like, I'm all in. I love it. And I say to this young kid, JJ Warren, who played my son in it, and then Jake Weary plays the bad guy in Rushed.
Yeah.
He's on Amazon. Plug.
It is on there. That's where I watched it.
Yeah, it's in like 22 countries too. Like it did really well. And except for it was COVID, so I don't know. But anyway, it was all the theaters. But anyway, so I say to JJ Warren, you can't believe this. I go, so weird, JJ. The kid was only like 19 at the time. I go, you're going to play my son. And I go, and the 2 other guys that are leads that I cast, I've worked with them. I've worked with them both before. And he said, Siobhan, which strikes me really funny when a kid who's 19 calls me Siobhan, because like in the acting field, you do that, but I'm known as like Mrs. Hogan in the neighborhood to 19-year-olds.
Right.
Like, I go, yeah, and he's like, I worked with you too. I go, you did? I'm like, he's 19. He goes, yeah, I was 9. I was like, oh, you don't say. The oldest trick in the book. I was like, I worked with Macaulay Culkin when he was 6. And now Kieran's really famous. He was in the scene too on SNL. Yeah. No, but anyway, so where the hell? You're like, let me have a podcast so I can not talk. Anyway, so
this is great.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, so my son's in Rushed. He plays Jake Weary's best friend. My daughter plays like the cokehead girlfriend in Shelter in Solitude, my new movie that's coming out October 6th. My son has a very big role. Other than being music supervisor behind the scenes, he plays this really great role of this cop, Chris. And my daughter, Sinead, plays a hippie hitchhiker. She's like, Mom, okay, so far you've cast me and written for me. The first movie is a cokehead. The second is hippie hitchhiker. You try to say something, I go, well, I hate to tell you, but I have another one that's almost finished when we got this movie out. And it's a girl that just got out of rehab.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. So anyway.
Oh, wow.
So it's all in the family. And my husband's a producer on both of them. And my daughter Bernadette, she's a big reporter. She just left the New York Post. She was the City Hall bureau chief.
Yeah.
She kind of brought Cuomo down. She broke that nursing home story during COVID.
Oh, yeah,
wow. Her name's Bernadette Hogan. She's like a pit bull. So she brought him down, and now she literally just left there last Friday, and she's going to be on camera. She's going to be working at New York 1. So the point of it is that I'm not bragging about my daughter, but I'm saying that in the movie Shelter in Solitude, there's a lot of well, not a lot, but there's a few news stories, on the radio. So she made sure that the copy and the way it sounded was authentic.
Oh, that's
so she helped
awesome.
too. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill them all, by the way. I hate them all. I would say, can you love someone and not like them? Because I don't like any of them. I want to kill them all.
I actually do believe that you could love someone and not like them. Yeah. Because I'm a very loving person, but I don't really like half my family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing.
But I love them.
Here's the thing. I love my kids. I love my husband. Like, for example, today, you can't believe this, is my 31st wedding anniversary.
Oh my God. Happy anniversary.
I can't find my husband. We're all working on the movie. I'm literally the only one in this house. And I got planted the garden, and I've got 2 zucchini that actually came to life and a pumpkin. I'm trying to show people. I'm like, where the hell is everybody?
Yeah.
So we have a movie, that's, I don't know, coming out really quickly, and I could use some help. And everyone's MIA. They better be buying me something.
Yeah.
Even just like ice cream. I don't even, and I'm not like a jewelry person or anything.
Yeah. Well, I want you to know I'm not super famous, but I will help you with this movie. I will tweet it like crazy and
Oh, that's
tell everyone to
awesome.
go see it.
That's
And
awesome. And get all your friends in LA to come to the Lemley, the Santa Monica one. So,
oh, I would love to, but unfortunately, all my friends died. So,
oh,
like,
what the hell?
yeah, I toured with Norm Macdonald and Bob Saget. So, like, I
Oh,
don't
that's
really
terrible.
have,
I love Norm.
yeah,
Norm, I was on SNL and I was on the same time as Norm, but he's such a great guy.
yeah, he was my best friend. So, like,
Oh, I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
no, yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying I don't have any famous friends anymore, so I can't really.
Who cares about famous? But he was the best. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, well, I think.
Colin Quinn. Colin Quinn's a friend. And what's the hilarious story that he told about Norm in the elevator? And I can't even remember. It's so funny. And he says to these, I don't know. And he says, Colin says, well, I didn't say that. Norm said, Colin said, I don't know, he somehow threw him under the bus. It was the funniest story. I can never remember the punchline of stories. So I'm useless at retelling them. That's why I
Yeah.
could never do stuff.
I'm sure I've heard it because when I was at the funeral, Colin said an elevator story with Norm. So I
Yeah.
thought, I don't.
And Lori Joe was on.
Oh, I love
When I was on, I
Lojo.
love Lori Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was terrible.
Yeah. So, oh my God, I'm going to text her and say, hey, I just talked to Siobhan.
Oh my God. Tell her. I don't know where she is in the country, but the movie's going to be all over the place October 6th, or if she's in LA, I'd love to have her come.
Yeah, I'll text her and give her the information.
Or Nashville. What the heck? I don't care.
Yeah. Well, she is in LA, but yeah.
Oh, that's
definitely.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. After this is over, share her number with me. I'd love to get in touch with her.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. And then I wanted to talk about we need to talk about Kevin, which I thought was a very very unique film. And like I'm noticing a pattern, like all the films you're doing are going very unique and story wise. So I really like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thanks. So that's okay. So this is what happened to me. You know how in this business, like you get really pegged with comedy.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, she can't do serious or anything like that. Well, Avi Kaufman, who's this fabulous casting director, and she cast Shelter in Solitude and Rushed as a favor because we're on a shoestring. So years ago, I was on SNL and I did Shakespeare in the Park because I'm an actress. I'm not a stand-up, so that was different at SNL. And so I did Shakespeare in the Park. I played Phoebe in As You Like It, 555 years ago. And Elizabeth McGovern she was Rosalind. I was Phoebe. Who cares? I'm not gonna go through the whole cast. But anyway, so Avi saw, sad that I can even remember it. That's, it's the side of an egomaniac. Like I can't remember stories, but I'm like, let me see who I was in the cast with. So anyway, Avi came and saw As You Like It. And she's like, oh, I guess this girl's like a legitimate actress. Yeah. So at the time, my daughter Bernadette, who's 28, was a baby, and she was a terrible baby. She had like really bad colic and she'd cry all night. And I had an audition for this Lars von Trier movie called Dancer in the Dark that Bjork was the lead in. Yeah. And anyway, and I was like, oh my God, I have to cry. This is awful. And this was the day before it. I was like, oh no, what if I can't cry? Because you're comedy and you're like, I'm not really a crier. And so my daughter gets an ear infection, is up all night long. Yeah. And now I have to do this audition. I have to take the subway. And I'm so exhausted. And I read for the audition and I'm able to cry. Not because I'm such a good actress that I can do it. I'm so tired that I cry. So I get the part of a prison guard I have this recurring theme of these prison guards in Dancer in the Dark. And it gets freaking into the Cannes Film Festival. Lars wins the Palme d'Or. Bjork wins. So now I'm suddenly legit, right? Yeah. So then other, let me think about this. We need to talk about Kevin. Yes, that's a British director. And then I did Funny Games. That was
which
Henke.
I loved Funny Games.
Okay, so he's Austrian. There's a really funny story about that. Yeah. So I suddenly get into this serious, and not only serious, but horror. And quite frankly, I don't like horror movies because I'm afraid of them. Like
Right.
I've never seen Funny Games or We Need to Talk About Kevin
Oh, okay.
because I won't be able to sleep at night.
Right.
Wait, the really funny thing about Funny Games is this. So it was me and oh my God, what's her name? She's famous Australian with blonde hair and she's in everything.
I know who you were talking about. I don't know her name though.
Leave Schreiber. She was married to him. I cannot
Uh,
remember.
yeah,
And
I could Google it, but
we got to figure it out. That okay,
yeah.
whatever. So Naomi Watts. I'm sure she'd love to know that I was searching for her name. No, you'll be like, you know what? I think like a year from now, I'm like, you know what? She really was losing it, and I heard there's nobody home now. Anyway, so I the director was Austrian and he's very famous, Michael Haneke.
Yeah.
So he didn't understand, you know how foreigners don't understand accents. So, matter of fact, when I did a semester in Ireland when I was in college, my mother's like, Siobhan, be careful of the accent. You'll fall in love with the accent. And I went out with this guy for probably about 2 weeks because that was always about as long as I could handle because I wasn't sure enough. And I really, first you're like, oh, anyway, Siobhan, anyway. And you're like, I love him the way he says, Siobhan. She's like, would you like a beard? I'm like, oh, I would. She's like, a pint. Yes. I'm like, I love him. I'm going to marry him. And then in a couple weeks, you're like, I don't really like him. He's kind of boring, even though he's an accent. Anyway, so Michael Haneke can't speak English, only minimally. And he says to the AD, like, he's like, and he's like, and I'm supposed to be playing a very sophisticated woman from Shelter Island, which is that's where Barbara Walters and all the very wealthy people from Long Island live. But, you can hear the way I talk. I'm from upstate, from Syracuse. So he says to the AD, and then the AD translates it, and he says to me, he would like you to speak the way you spoke in, I don't know, he named some movie. And I go, oh no, which is Men in Black, or like a farmer, the way and the way I spoke in, because Dancer in the Dark, I spoke, I was a prisoner. I was supposed to be from the Midwest, and I was like talking like this, like I normally talk. And I said, tell him, because I'm supposed to be wealthy now in this character, tell him that if I speak that way, people in the audience are going to think I won the lottery, or I'm a mail order bride from the Midwest, because nobody from here talks like me. I go, I belong more like in a trailer park. So he's like, and he goes like, okay, go ahead and speak that way. But anyway, so he didn't like understand, he didn't understand the dialects. So stupid. But going back to, we need to talk about Kevin. So I was with Tilda Swinton. That was a riot. Yeah. She's awesome. I mean, that's just like, and that was a really fun movie. But I don't know.
No, I know how you're feeling, because like I've only done one movie and I've never watched it because I can't watch.
What movie was it?
It was called Terrible People. It was about bank robbery. So
wait, was Vince Vaughn in that?
No, that was probably Horrible Bosses. Yeah.
So they're on the same scene.
No, I swear to you, have not seen this movie. No one's seen this movie, but
it is awful to watch yourself.
Yeah, I can't even watch my stand-up comedy because
no. No, listen. I have so many double chins now. First of all, I have to stay like straight on. Yeah. So people are going to see like the Michelin doll. Wait, you'll get a big kick out of this. So I got asked to be a judge last Thursday night in where I live now, at this theater, and they did a contest for stand-up comics.
Oh my God, I wish I was.
Oh yeah. There. So there was 10 of them. There was 10 comics. The Stress Factory okay, so the gentleman who owns that, he was one of the judges, and then this other guy, Joe, I'm going to say his last name, but you might know him. I think is it Monterero? I don't know. He's been on Letterman, all this. Montero. I don't know. Anyway, he's a really nice guy. Anyway, whatever. So I have this problem where I can't like fake laugh.
Right.
And my sister Sheila's always like, Siobhan, you could have at least laughed or smiled. Or my other sister's like, oh my God, that was so fake when you laughed. Because unless I think it's funny, I can't laugh, right?
Exactly.
And I also really hate dirty humor. Like it doesn't strike me funny, and I don't, whatever. So do you remember, you might be too young, but remember in the Brady Bunch when Cindy Brady was on and she froze and didn't say anything when she got on TV? You probably don't
Cindy's
know.
the small one, right?
She's
Yeah.
this youngest one. So years ago, there was an episode, and 5,000 years ago, you're like, no one in the audience, probably all like honestly, they'd all be dead. They remember this.
We're talking about the show, not the movies.
Yeah, the TV show, the TV show that I watched religiously with Brady Bunch. I'd be like, people like, can you babysit? I'm like, as long as I can get there before the Brady Bunch starts. So Cindy Brady, who was the youngest, she froze when she got on TV with her family and didn't speak. And afterwards, they were like, Cindy. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was me Thursday when I was judging the comics. For the first three, I didn't say a word because they were so dirty. I didn't want to be mean and be like, okay, that was disgusting. So the fourth one, they're like, he was really funny.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, look, I'm sorry I didn't speak. I was having kind of an out of body experience. I was in my head thinking to myself, why did you ask me? I'm terrible. But the reason is because I think this guy's really funny. And I don't think you need to be filthy and talk about your wife to be funny.
Right.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I get that. Yeah, definitely.
And then one guy does this joke about, I almost don't even want to repeat it, but handcuffing a child. I said, let me say something. I go, when you say something like that, not only is it sick, and you should probably, I don't know, have someone examine your head, but I would, if I wasn't a judge, I'd get up and leave.
Right. Oh my God. So that must have been,
yeah.
oh Lord.
Because I'm like, who says something repulsive about a child? I don't get that. But anyway.
Wow. Oh my God. So this would be a bad time to tell a joke to you so you could judge me.
As long as it's rated G, I'm okay. I'll even go PG. I don't mind swear words. I love swear words.
All right. I got a good G joke for you.
Okay, go.
Okay. So I just got back from Vegas the other day and I hit a coyote with my car.
Yeah. For real?
I knew it was a coyote because I got out and a roadrunner came up to me and said, thanks.
See, that's my speed.
Okay, excellent.
That's my speed.
Did I move on to the next round?
I love it. You moved on. You made it.
But I wanted to ask you about Holes because Holes was a great movie, but it was also a book. And I wanted to ask you, like, when you did the movie, did you read the book and how you do that?
Yeah. So I'm like De Niro, you know, I'm really thorough. So I read the book. So and I'm not much as Chris Farley would say, I'm not much of a reader per se, but I did read. I love that book. So, and there's something very interesting about that, which is that Louis Satcher, who wrote the book, originally lived in San Francisco and he had a child. I haven't seen him in 100 years, but I remember he told me the story. And the reason he was able to write the book is that he studied where in the country he should move to that would be a great place to raise a child and would be a lot less expensive than San Francisco, which pretty much anywhere except for New York and LA. But so he moved to Texas and that's where he met all those characters, you know, because there's so many characters in Texas.
Yeah.
But yes, I read the book. I love Andy Davis, who directed it. We've remained friends all these years. I'm a massive fan, and he's been a huge supporter of mine. So when I did Rushed, I mean, I had no idea if I knew what the heck I was doing, if the movie was good or whatever. And he would give me notes. Same with Shelter and Solitude. He's like one of the greatest guys in this business, which is,
my God.
He's just such a good guy. And his wife, Adrian, and his family, he's an amazing guy. And then, of course, John Voight, I went to Catholic University and John Voight is older than me, but he went there too. So when I was at Catholic U a million years ago, there was a priest I really loved named Father Harkey, hilarious guy. And John Voight went to Catholic University and he painted the cardinal, because Catholic U was the Cardinals, on the center of the gym. And they thought he was an artist, like not an actor. And so anyway, so that was really cool that I got to work with John Voight, because Father Harkey used to tell me what a fabulous actor he was. And he's like, I'm the one who told him not to stop painting birds and be an actor. Where would he be now?
That's like the best advice ever.
I know. He'd be out there painting yellow belly sapsuckers. I'm looking out of my pond right now. I got a pond and there's always birds. My mother was really into birds. I don't know a single bird, and all they do is fly by.
Yeah. Did you know a bird is the only animal that if you throw it, you're actually helping it?
I would have thought, wait a minute. Is a frog an animal or is that an amphibian? I would have think a frog doesn't mind to be thrown either.
Oh yeah, maybe a frog needs help too sometimes.
You know, speaking of which, I don't know where this came in my head, but have you ever been to Australia?
No, never.
Okay, so my family, we travel in a pack. And by the way, I feel guilty about saying I don't like them, but I don't. No, I'm only kidding. I love them. But so when I would always bring my kids, and we all work on this movie together. My daughter Sinead is not only in the movie, but she's production designer as well. And so that's where I'm wondering where everybody is right now. They're taking advantage of this podcast because they know. Because I'm going to I rile them up like an Australian Shepherd. I'm like, where are you? Let's get going. Anyway, when we were speaking of animals that can be thrown or birds. So I brought them all over to Australia when I did Charlotte's Web. At the time, Sinead was 2. Peter and Bernadette both went to school there. They went to a bush school.
Yeah.
They call it, all right, it's bush school. And they would be like, Mom, don't put anything in our lunch besides a cookie. No, besides a sandwich and an apple. If you put a cookie in, they're going to think we're rich because we were in the middle of nowhere. But anyway, so you know how we think kangaroos are so cute and everything?
Yeah, they're actually scary, aren't they?
Right. So Sinead was 2. And and she's kind of like tough. And they really hop really weirdly, like it's like you bend your elbow and she's like, get away, stupid kangaroo. Dad, throw that kangaroo away from me. So I always think of them, like chuck the kangaroo. I'm also from upstate where people cow tip, but that's none of that's politically correct now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just can't go around pushing animals anymore.
No, definitely. But
I love animals.
No, I love animals too. But what I'm saying is about kangaroos, here's how I know I don't trust them is because I don't trust anyone who has like one of those backpacks and they put their baby on it. So like in front of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like people that do that. You're like, you're a weirdo.
Yeah, so I don't trust kangaroos.
Yeah. Yeah, you like those fit people. Do you know, I actually saw one of those, I have to say I love the baby. I used to carry my kids in the front when I lived in New York City, but you always you associate it with like granola bars and like Birkenstock, like really crunchy people.
Yeah.
And I would actually be like, I wonder if people think I'm actually in shape. But I was like too tired to push the stroller. But now I saw this guy recently. They not only have the backpack things, but the kid is like almost up on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And then thinking for the kid, it's great. But then I'm thinking, what if you trip?
Yeah, exactly.
Now there goes your face. Like,
oh man. Hey, I wanted to ask you something about Men in Black. And
yes.
I don't know if you noticed this or if this was a spur of the moment thing, or maybe it's just my Asperger's that caught that. But when the guy comes in and he's like, I want sugar water, you're like, I've never seen sugar water do that. And he's like, oh, give me sugar water. You look at the spoon and it looks like you're about to grab a spoon, but you actually grab a cup and you pour the whole cup in the.
Yes. Barry Sonnenfeld told me to do that. He's a genius. Barry Sonnenfeld is a genius. We shot that. This is interesting for the people that are 9,000 years old. That was shot on the Little House on the Prairie set.
Oh my God.
Yes. So I was out in California. Bernadette was actually a baby and I left her because I only thought I would be out there for like 3 days.
Right.
And my husband at the time was a trader on Wall Street. He was supposed to be watching her. I remember one time I called him up and I heard all this noise in the background. I think he had her at happy hour. And I was like, what in the hell? I got to get home. But I couldn't get home because, like in California, when they have the terrible rainstorm, the mudslides.
Right.
So every day, of course, at that point, I was like on a daily rate. So I was like, listen, I love my kid and everything. And I always brought my kids with me, but we needed money then. And so I was like, okay, the longer they can keep me, the more money I can make because, I was getting a daily rate. So the truck and the campers were down below it. And every day they'd be like, put you in makeup, put the makeup on. Of course, you wouldn't know I was in makeup. I looked so attractive in it. And, and whenever people are like, hey, are you Lady Men in Black? I'm like, damn, I should have put some lipstick on. So anyways, like even friggin' Will Smith improvised that line. He goes, damn, you need a makeover, whatever he says. I'm sure that's the wrong line, but something like that.
Right.
Anyway, so every day they'd be like, we'd either get in the truck to try to get up the hill, but come to find out in California, the soil isn't the same as back east. So it's like clay. So you cannot get traction no matter what kind of chains you have on your tires. Yeah. So every day we get up the hill, I was like, cha-ching, another day. And I was like, well, but I got to get home to my baby. This is bad. Like, I think Brenna. So, so this all ties in. So I think it ended up to be like 10 days. And I was like, Barry. So finally we were going to get to the night scene. And Vincent D'Onofrio, poor Vincent D'Onofrio had like, his eyes were, Rick Davis, who's the famous makeup artist. I remember he said to me, Siobhan, always read a script carefully. Because if you're the type that gets uncomfortable and say you do have to have your eyes like really wide open or like, like Grinch or something like that, you have to be the type that can sit in a makeup chair for hours.
Right.
Oh my God, I have a story about that after. How long does this podcast go on?
Whatever.
So anyway,
I'm on your time.
oh my God, I have a story about that. That's insane. So anyway, so we shot that scene. Oh, and I thought you were going to ask me about the sugar why I was looking down, because the truth is too, there's a mattress behind me and I have to, they're like, just trust us. You're going to fall straight back and you got to look like you're going to faint. So I was like, oh my God. So I thought maybe I was peeking at but they wouldn't do that in the same shot.
No.
Okay. So
it clearly shows you look at the spoon and then you grab the,
that was very
comedy gold.
I would like to pretend that was my idea, but you got to give credit where credit was due. And that was totally Barry Seinfeld. As a matter of fact, Barry, I'll never forget, we were going down the hill and Barry had a martini and he's like, I said, Barry, what do you think you need most as a director? And, I remember he said, see, I don't have a vocabulary. Like, what's when you're really healthy? You have to stay, because you have no sleep. So what is it's like, endurance. That's what I want to say. Endurance. But he was holding a martini. He goes, that, and the martini was filled to the top. So, like he would actually, they call the last shot of the day on a movie, the martini shot. Right. And don't spill your martini when you're going down the hill. Which of course I thought was hilarious. So the makeup. So Vincent had to wear the makeup and his eyes were stretched open where he had to get water, like eye drops constantly. So it was getting really, like, I was really missing my daughter, and I would have brought her with me had I known it was going to go into this length of time.
Right.
So I was like, Barry, listen, is there any way I can catch the red eye tonight? Now, normally, and he's like, I go, my baby. And he's like, I know, Siobhan, hang on. So he says, I'm going to ask Vincent. And the way it goes in movies is whoever is the most famous one gets to do their shot first, if it's late in the night. So they can, quote unquote, shoot you out. So then I would almost play to nobody or play to a stand-in. And he's but in this case, it's even more severe that he should definitely be out first because he's so uncomfortable with his eyes. I mean, they're dry. His eyeballs are drying every 2 seconds. Right. So he says, Vincent, Siobhan is a baby and she's really missing. I'm sure Barry would really appreciate this imitation I'm doing him. He's the best guy ever. And I'm like, not doing him justice. Anyway, such a class act. Anyway, so he said, Siobhan needs to go home to her baby. How do you feel about letting her go first? And Vincent let me.
Oh my God.
That's a great guy.
That's awesome.
Should I tell you my story about the makeup situation?
Yes. Tell me every story. Okay. I love this.
So, in the movie, The House That Jack Built, it's about Jack the Ripper, Matt Dillon, me, Uma Thurman, and Lars von Trier directs. So my character in the movie has to be killed because, it's Jack the Ripper.
Right.
In the movie, I don't just get killed. I get dragged by a car and my head falls off, which when we went to Cannes, my kids couldn't sit with me. And my daughter Sinead was only in like 11th grade at the time. My son was in college, and my other daughter was out of college, whatever. The movie ends. I'm telling the story out of order, but it's like a trinity, which me telling the last part first. So my daughter,
like this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're like, wow, wait, she hasn't talked to many people in a while. She's clearly only been talking to her family.
I love you, Siobhan. I love you. That was a joke of love.
It's insanity. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm getting so hot I have to take my sweater off. So I'm having a hot flash. So, okay. So after Cannes Film Festival, everybody's all dressed up. It's like really fancy. And I see my daughter in the distance. I got to get with her because, we're sitting in the VIP seats with Lars and Matt and all the, people in the movie. And my kids are sitting way over to the right. And my daughter's like stone faced and she looks like she's going to throw up. And I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, you did not tell me that you get dragged by a car and your face falls off. And I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot to tell you that.
Yeah. Surprise.
To me, it's just nothing. Well,
Right.
I had to go to a makeup studio in Brooklyn. And ironically, it's two guys from SNL who are genius makeup artists. And I had to have my full body made into, because something they could drag.
Right.
And so number one is, when I'm still telling the story backwards, when I saw my full body lying on the ground, I was like, ew. Number one, I need to go on a diet. Number two, what has happened to me? And number three, that's disgusting. And it's my body. It's literally me. Okay. Now cut even further back. So I have to go and I have to have a full face made of my head, which means, and I consider myself not to have any phobias, nothing, except for I don't like to fly. And they're like, now, Siobhan, we're going to put this on. We just want to let you know what's going to happen. We're going to paint your face with all this stuff. You're going to have a straw in your mouth to breathe out of eventually. And you're going to have places in your ears. At the very end, the last thing we'll cover your ears. So all you'll have is a straw.
Right.
Okay. You're not claustrophobic, are you? Because some people really can't do this. And they name some actors who had to knock and be like, break this. I got to get out of this. So I'm kind of like inside my head as they're painting it on priding myself. Like, look at me. I don't have any phobias. It's really great. It's unbelievable. I can't believe how comfortable I am with myself.
Yeah.
That I can be inside here. And they're like, all right, Siobhan. And you can just start to, it's almost like a dream. They're like, okay, you okay? Okay. So we're just want to let you know, we're about 5 minutes away, and they're painting. I'm like, I'm such a piece. See, I don't need to talk. I'm fine. I'm breathing out the straw. I'm doing great. Okay. Then they're like, okay, we have 1 minute left. So we're going to clog your ears now. So just keep breathing out of the straw. At the time, there had been an earthquake in Guatemala.
Oh my God.
In my head, I'm like, oh my God, this is what those poor people must have feel like, who are possibly still under there. And I'm like, start to have a panic attack. And I'm like, holy crap. And then I thought to myself, it's a really good idea for a movie. And in fact, I shouldn't even tell it, because and I was like, what if these guys aren't from SNL? What if I don't even know who they are? And this is a plot to kill me.
Right.
So I'm like, but I can't say hurry up. So I'm like, this is a straw.
Did you drop the straw?
I literally sweated out. And when they took it off, I go, I'm here to tell you that will be the last time I will ever do that. It was petrifying. And then that's when they told me how many actors were not able to do it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was insane.
If you ever decide to try stand-up, that story is your first joke. That's just great.
Oh my God. I don't know how you do stand-up. I think it takes such nerve. And I don't know. That makes me so nervous I couldn't handle it.
Oh my God. Like when you're telling the story, you could be like, Julia Roberts gonna handle this. This is easy. Yeah.
I need some pointers.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you think I was shocked when I saw my body, you should have seen my head. I was like, what is going? I look like one of those, like a Shar-Pei dog, that had millions of necks. I was like, I don't know what happened to my neck. When I was in my 20s, I got a you had to always get those stupid resume pictures, headshots. I remember this makeup artist was like, he was French. He's like, that eventually you're going to have surgery. I literally was like 26. You're thinking you look pretty good then, right? He's like, that when eventually your eyes are going to drop. Now look at my eyes. You can hardly see my eyes. Yeah. And you're going to have a little fat sucked out of your chin. I was like, okay, guy, listen, I'm paying you to take my freaking picture. Would you mind not saying something like that? And
not giving me health tips.
He was 100% right. But I figure if I start chopping myself up now, forget it.
Yeah. It's something similar like that happened to me when I took my very first headshots when I was like 15 or 16. They're like, oh my God, you're the cutest guy. You're going to be the next, Jonathan Taylor Thomas or whatever. And you're like, oh, that's great. 20 years later, that hasn't happened. And I still think I'm cute, but I look at my headshots and I was like, oh my God, I was fucking hot. You know what I mean?
Seriously. I'm like, I was good looking. I should have had more confidence.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. You know, and I also like the new generation, like my daughter and her friends, they get really offended if someone like whistles and stuff. I'm like, when I lived in New York City, I was like, if like a truck driver whistled me, I was like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
got it. I'm still rocking. No
Oh,
one whistles at me now.
no one whistles at me anymore either. It sucks.
Not only do they not whistle at me, they're like, are you okay? Could I help you carry that? I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. So bad.
Well, I want to respect your time, and I have three more questions if I
Sure,
could.
go.
So I wanted to talk about you probably don't get asked this a lot, but jury duty, which I thought was the funniest Pauly Shore movie. And I
Well, let me tell you,
I think I'm a lone wolf on that. I don't know, but I
might
think it
be.
was great.
Well, for number one, I was 6 months pregnant and trying to hide it. I did not
Oh,
tell them I was pregnant. I think I was on that for like at least 6 weeks. As a matter of fact, my friend PJ, who I went to Catholic U with, remained friends all these years. He wrote it.
yeah.
He's a producer on Rushed and Shelter in Solitude.
Oh my God.
He was like out of his mind because I was not supposed to be pregnant because they can't insure you if you're pregnant.
Oh my
And I
God.
was like, matter of fact, my friend Nancy Hauer, who's a director, I made her go with me for my physical. Because if you have a big part, they have to be able to insure you. And this is so gross, but I made her give me her urine. And we went up. We went up the elevator on Hollywood Boulevard in LA. We went to McDonald's, which was below it. We went up the elevator to go to the doctor to hand in my urine. And we were in the elevator. I go, ew, ew. And Nancy, it's spilling. And she goes, and she's really like, you can't believe that we're friends because we're such good friends. She's like, really waspy and really like way above something like this. And she's like, I mean, I don't know, Siobhan, no one's ever asked me to pee in a cup before. I don't know how much to give you. And so anyway, but if you watch that movie, you'll see how I'm holding my purse in front of my stomach because I'm 6 months pregnant when it ends.
Oh my God.
But it
That's
was
a
really fun.
that's a great story. I would just say, oh no, I'm not pregnant. I'm just gaining some lbs. What's wrong with that?
No, you can't because they want your urine sample.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
they have to insure you.
Oh man. That's awesome. That was a clever
Yeah.
way.
Oh wait, and Peter Lenkoff, who produced that movie, he invested in Shelter in Solitude. So it all goes back to jury duty.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm
Isn't
so
that
glad I
crazy?
brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, okay, and then what was because you were on SNL for a season, what was your favorite memory being on that? Like what was a great sketch that you saw that you liked?
Well, first of all, my favorite thing about SNL was I was great friends with Chris Farley and Aaron Frazier, who was Lorne Michaels' assistant at the time. She's a producer. She passed away in March suddenly of an aneurysm. So my friendships on that movie, like I loved Chris Rock and Adam Sandler and David Spade. I was good friends with Melanie Hutzel and Julia Sweeney. I like have great memories that way. I I did the Delta sketches and but really funny. I was always the judge.
Yeah.
And so Chris Rock used to call me Judgy Wudgy, as a matter of fact. I was asked once, someone was writing a book about SNL, and they were like, please tell your favorite sketch that you were in. I was like, well, I really only did Delta and Judge You. I really didn't do much because I'm an actress and I really didn't have that competitive fight to fight for myself.
It seems like it's a competitive show. Yeah.
Yeah. And you would have to go a lot of times you have to go to Lauren's office and like really fight. And I was like, look, I'm not proving myself. You either think I'm funny or not. And I can't, I wasn't as cutthroat. So, I should have been more cutthroat, but I don't know. Anyway, so one time they're like, what sketch are you the most proud of? And of course I want to say Judgy. Then I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I was like told like a fake something? And I said to my kids, I was like, I'm most proud of Fudgy. She was a Girl Scout who sold fudge that she made door to door. But I wasn't even in that. But anyway, so why am I talking about that? So I know I love the Delta sketches. I loved when Seinfeld was on because I had I'd worked with Jerry and I loved being in those. I mean, I had a great time. I always managed to get on every week, which was a feat in itself.
Yeah.
I actually like the bows the best, to tell you the truth, because the pressure was off and the party was just around the corner.
Yeah. I remember one time, I don't remember what city I was in with Norm, but someone asked Norm that question, and Norm basically said a sketch he wasn't in, like Wayne's World or something. Like, I don't remember the exact same,
I
like,
do.
I'm improving the story because I don't remember what he said. But let's just say he said Wayne's World, and the guy's like, "Oh my God, yeah, I loved you in that sketch, yeah." And then Norm's like, "That guy's an idiot. I wasn't in that fucking sketch."
I know that's the
So,
way it is. People thought for years after, they're like, I love you on SNL. I was like, thank you. I'm like, but I remember too, I loved being, Steve Martin did a musical. Of course, I told you I love the musicals. And Chris Farley was hysterical. Oh, there was a sketch though that didn't get on, which is pathetic. We did, me, Chris Farley, Dana Carvey, and Melanie Hutzel. We did Lucille Ball. I was Lucille Ball. She was Ethel. Chris was Jackie Gleason. And Dana was Fred Mertz. And I'm telling you, it was fantastic. And it freaking got caught.
oh my God.
Well, this is the problem, though. You can actually Google it. I mean, you can't believe how much we all look like them. And it was good. It was really, I mean, I'm not bragging. Well, how can I brag? We didn't even get on. So I'm bragging about nothing. I'm bragging about something in my head to myself, which is sad.
Yeah.
So the thing is that, the producers would choose, and the producers were writing.
Yeah.
So, that's like being in I don't even know how, like a bake off, and you made the brownies.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're,
You're judging your own brownies.
yeah, you can't get your brownie in if you didn't make it.
Exactly.
Like, if you're not the judge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly
where I'm
what you're
going with
saying.
it a little bit.
Yeah. That's why whenever I bake brownies, I always give hash. I don't know. I don't.
Oh no, or I just I just eat the batter. I got a call by my heart doctor. Now I don't, I'm not obese or anything, and I've exercised my whole life.
You're right.
My father was really funny, and he quit drinking when I was 15, and he wasn't like a dated alcoholic, but he liked this when he did drink, it was go big or go home. Anyway, that's why, like, Chris Farley, like, he was literally like family to me, because I was related to him so much, and we were Catholic. We went to church every Sunday together. It was like, and we were from the big families, and just the insanity. Anyway,
Yeah.
So my father had my uncle Mickey, who never drank a drop, and he was an oral surgeon. He was laying on the operating table, and my father came in to see him, and he goes, "What the hell, Billy? You abused yourself your whole life. I didn't do one damn thing, and I'm on the table. You should be here." But the other day, I had to go for like that calcium C test, which everybody does now. And I'm literally eating brownie batter.
Oh my God.
And the doctor goes, "Siobhan, I have your results. Are you sitting?" And I was like, "No, right now I'm not sitting. I'm actually standing over the brownie batter eating it." "Well, you got a little blockage in one of your arteries." I go, "Oh, maybe I should put the spoon down. I don't know. It's 10 in the morning. I just had a little craving." And he goes, "Yeah, it's not your widowmaker. It's your other artery." I go, "How many do you have?" I don't even know my body in any way. Like,
Yeah.
but, oh, my husband just came in. I'm doing a podcast. It's my
Oh,
30th
hi.
birthday. He's the one I was ready to kill.
I succeeded. I kicked ass.
Yeah, but he wouldn't answer
Oh,
the phone.
nice.
He went out to breakfast with a friend because he didn't answer the phone for 2 hours. Such a
He
liar.
brought you flowers.
I guess I can't punch him on a podcast, but no one would see. So anyway, so the doctor calls, and he's like, and I go, "Oh, it's not the widowmaker." "Well, that's good."
Yeah.
Anyway, and I said, "So if I'm driving to Syracuse and I can still take the throughway, but if there's a lot of traffic and I want to take the side road, that's the one that's clogged." He's like, "That's exactly right." I was like,
my
"Oh."
God. It's so weird because, like, I agree with you. Batter and cookie dough and stuff, it's better than the actual, because then
So much better.
because like it says a cookie has like 500 calories, but if you're just eating the dough, you don't really care.
Exactly. And that's always a big fight in my family. Like, my kids are like, "Mom, where's the batter?" Or like, they'll put them in, and they'll make the dumb mistake of walking away.
Yeah.
And I like get into the kitchen. "Peter, my husband's running the water. Don't run the water because we're doing a podcast. It needs to be acoustically pleasing."
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
So my last question for you, because your husband's here and I want to respect your time, but if you could go into a time machine and
Yes.
talk to a younger version of yourself,
Oh my
and
God.
this of what you know now, like, what would you say?
Shut up. No, I'm only kidding. I would honestly say this, And I do talk to young kids all the time, and college kids or high school if they ask me. For example, SNL. I felt so lucky to be there that it kind of stilted my funny. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel like, hey, I'm a contender. Marlon Brando, I could have been a contender. So I was like, oh, I'm so lucky to be here. I'm so lucky. Well, if you got there, then you deserve to be there. So I guess ease into it. That being said, if all those experiences make who you are. So if you're a nervous wreck and nervous to be somewhere, you can't help it. Yeah. It's like dating. It's like, I'll say to my kids, or my mother would say to me, Siobhan, don't worry about it. And it will happen. And inside your head, I really like to get married and have kids, but no one likes me because I talk too much and I'm weird looking. So, but if you could just relax. But I would definitely say this, because now I've got 2 movies that I've written myself. And now I've got Shelter in Solitude coming out. And, it's like, knock on wood, just so unbelievable that with AMC and Regal picked us up. And, you think, poor me, that's never going to happen. If you take the bull by the horns and do it yourself, then no one can stop you. Yeah. I'm telling you, we're distributing it ourselves. We are, because you know just as much as everybody else knows. But because someone has a label well, that's an executive. Well, that's the head of distribution. Well, that's so-and-so. Who cares? Because when you get to be my age and people like Norm die, you could be done tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Or if you're young, you could be hit by a bus. So don't apologize for yourself. Write your own material. If you don't know how to write it, take a writing course or talk to other writers. I never thought I could write. Literally, I only learned to write because SNL, they go, okay, everybody go write your sketches. I was like, what? I thought I was hired to act these sketches out. I go, right? What the hell? So force yourself to write, do your own stuff. Kids now have the advantage of filming. You can film yourself. You can submit to festivals, and don't let anyone tell you no. Just go for it. Don't let anybody control your destiny. Control your own destiny.
I'm so glad you said that and you didn't say, don't do Keith Reza's podcast.
No, and do Keith's podcast because he's funny and he has good personality. He gets your jokes and he relates to people. Oh my God.
Well, Siobhan, where can the folks at home follow and support you?
Thanks so much. And if you're in LA, come September 19th.
I'm definitely going. Yeah. If I don't have a stand-up show, I'm for sure going.
Yeah. And October 6th, we will be all over the country, and I will personally be at Union Square, Regal, doing a Q&A in New York City. And I think, hopefully we're going to be on a lot of big shows too. Really, remember Ed Sullivan, really big shoes, promoting the movie. Shelter in Solitude. It stars Robert Patrick, Peter Macon, directed by fabulous Vibeke Musaya from Denmark. My son, Peter Hogan, Dan Castellaneta, who's Homer Simpson, Michael Oberhauser, who was nominated for a Tony last year and Take Me Out. It's a great story about a prisoner on death row and a washed up country singer. And it's a beautiful relationship. And it's about kindness and hope, but it's also hilarious as well as heartwarming. Y'all come out. Yeah, you hear?
All right.
Thank you so much, Keith.
Thank you for taking your time and saying yes. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right. God Air 5.
God bless. And here's to Norm. And connect me with Lori Jo.
Yeah, definitely. I'll email Andy my number and you could text me.
Awesome. Thanks a million, Keith.
Have a great day.
Bless. Bye-bye.
Right, bye.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee right here on LA Talk Radio.